This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network, now in its 7th year. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Ladies and gentlemen, what are you laughing about?
Nothing. Just go ahead.
Come on. This is Steve Kravitz, ladies and gentlemen. What the fuck are you laughing about?
I was laughing at you.
Why? What was I doing?
Oh, the whole old man blowing your nose bit.
Well, I mean, old men blow their noses. Well, I blew my nose when I was a kid. I had sinus problems. And I had allergy problems. And I was always the kid, that came to school with the red eyes and blowing his nose all the time. You remember those kids, don't you?
Sure.
Well, that was me.
And look how well you turned out.
Now, were you one of the kids that made fun of us kids who blew our nose?
No.
Well, I mean, what kind of kid were you in school?
I was not a good student.
That's not the question. We were all terrible students. That's why we went into comedy and radio, okay? But you weren't a good student, okay. But that's not what I'm asking. There was like the in crowd, and there was like the nerds, the kids who just didn't fit in. What were you?
Then you'd put me with the nerds.
Really? That bad, huh?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was also, I'll give you an example. I got caught skipping school in the 1st grade.
You mean you quit it while you still weren't even tired of it?
Right.
Yeah.
And the deal was, we walked to school. We'd walk down the hill.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd ring a bell, and we'd have to line up. They'd ring a second bell, and we'd go into class or had to line up for class. So when the bell rang, I hid behind a tree. And then the second bell rang, and I kept my cover, and then I started walking home, figuring I'd be eating, Twinkies and watching Howdy Doody for the afternoon. And as I'm walking up the hill, guess who's driving down the hill?
Your father.
My mom.
Your mom. Oh,
no.
And you got busted, right?
Yeah, and then I got expelled in the 2nd grade.
2nd grade oh, wow. You really were working at it. You were really working it.
Yeah, well, too much time on my hands. I guess I was like bored in school.
You know something? I don't think there's anything wrong with being bored with school. I think school was really boring.
Yeah.
And I think that's the fault of the educational system. Because, enjoying school is something you should enjoy, but they never made it enjoyable. They made it a drudgery.
Yeah.
Between homework and we're going to have a test today. I mean, it was all tyrannical.
Yes, it was.
I often felt, here was the thing that bothered me when I was a kid, and even when I was a kid, that they would always ask us questions. And if we answered the question correctly, we got an A, right?
Right.
So what was that more than social programming? In other words, they were programming us to give out with the right answer. Now, there was a guy years ago by the name of Dr. Banish Hoffman. How I remember that name, I have no idea.
Okay.
But he wrote a book called The Tyranny of Testing. And his argument was that there are 2 correct answers to every question. Or at least 2 correct answers to every question. But what you're doing with tests in school is what you want is the correct answer, the one you want to program into them.
Right.
Okay. The argument being that, for instance, any question you would ask, there are actually two correct answers, one of which may be a little bit out there, but it's a correct answer.
Give me an example.
Let me see here. Let me see if I can give you a good example of it. What is an animal with whiskers and fur?
A cat.
Well, let's see here. Don't dogs have whiskers too sometimes?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they do.
Yeah, see? So the two correct answers to every question.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of a question you would have been asked in school, but there's always a second question you could ask. It's a little more nebulous, a little more ethereal, but it could be considered a correct answer.
Right.
But what he essentially was saying is that what schools are trained to do is you're like a computer. They program you, and if you spit out the right answer, you pass, and if you don't spit out the right answer, you fail. And that's because
we're Pavlov's dog.
Right. But what they're doing is, for instance, I'll give you a good example. When I was a kid, I loved psychology, so I took psychology in high school. And our textbook, chapter 8, I think it was something like that, was all about homosexuality. And I had a teacher who was gay, so he missed that chapter. He just, we go to chapter 8 next, teacher? No, look, read chapter 9. You know, and in other cases, I remember once in school, okay, here's a good example of the correct answer. I had a teacher in college who had us read an essay called Communism versus Democracy.
Okay.
All right? And the next day we came in and she said, anybody have a comment on the communism versus democracy? And I said, I do. And she said, what is it? I said, well, this article is completely fallacious. It has a wrong premise. She said, well, why do you say that? I said, because you can't compare communism to democracy. Communism is an economic form, and democracy is the relationship of a government to its people. And she said, you're wrong. Next.
That was it?
That was it. Now, I think I was right. You know, to this day, I maintain that I was right in my assumption that by comparing the two, you were prejudicing the student.
Yeah.
Into thinking that the polar opposite of communism was democracy.
Right.
That's not true, because there have been Allende in South America, before he was assassinated, was what he called a democratic communist. He believed in voting, he believed in the will of the people, but he also believed in a communist system as the economic system for his country.
Huh.
Okay? So we get programmed, and if we get programmed right, we get A's, and if we don't get programmed right, or think outside the box, we get F's. So that's why I didn't like school. I found it drudgery. I found it, draconian. I mean, tonight we're going to read chapter 47. That's your homework for tonight.
Right.
And it's very nice. Occasionally, I think maybe there should be homework, because there are things you can't cover in an hour. But then when you've got like 6 classes and every one of them are giving you homework, you've got more of a workload than you had at school.
In some cases.
Yeah. I mean, I hated school. I just hated it.
I liked school probably once I got to college.
Okay. All right. But that was a place where people thought a lot. Okay. Right. I mean, there was a lot of thinking going on. And so that was completely different situation, I think.
Right.
Colleges always and universities always thought of themselves as a place where we sought out knowledge.
Right.
It wasn't programmed into us. So I think that's probably why you like college. I did 2 years of college and I got bored with it, because I wanted to be I was in broadcasting.
Right.
And so I wanted to study broadcasting. So I studied broadcasting. And then what I learned was, by doing it, by working at a job, I was learning more than I ever would sitting in a classroom pretending to do radio. You know?
Right.
So I quit. I just figured, somebody else needs this seat. Right? I don't need it. And I didn't need it. Not for my profession.
No.
I imagine as a comedian, you probably never needed college either.
No, but I went to college for different reasons. I went to college, to live in different cities in Massachusetts, and I got to live in France for 2 years.
Okay. That was a treat.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I got to study with actual masters, guys that... One guy actually created a style of theater that I studied with.
Oh, really?
And the other guy was the last living master of Commedia dell'arte, which is 15th century Italian comedy.
So answer me this. How did you get to go to France? I mean, was it part of your college curriculum, or how did that work? My junior year, I designed my last 2 years. I wrote up my curriculum. Mm-hmm.
And I went to a division called Bachelor's Degree in Independent Concentration.
Wow.
And in it, I wrote in, I would like to go here to study with this gentleman for these reasons. And I had a faculty advisor. And I want to study with this gentleman for these reasons, blah, blah, blah. And they okayed it. So I got credit through... While living in Paris, I was getting credit at UMass.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's terrific.
And then when I came home, I did a demonstration at UMass. And that was kind of like my test.
Oh, wow. What a cool... It must have been... You enjoyed living in Paris for 2 years, didn't you?
Very, very much. Very much.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to begin with, it's a beautiful town.
Yeah.
Just gorgeous. And secondly, everybody is a different word for everything over there.
Well, yeah, because it's in French.
You know what I used to say? I always used to argue this, that, American kids are stupid. And people would say, why? I said, well, you go to a place like France, and do you realize that every child in France speaks fluent French?
I said to a guy, when I first got there, I said to a guy, "Parlez-vous anglais?" And he turned to me and he said, "Yes, I speak English, but I don't speak American." And he walked away.
The one thing I found about the French that bothered me, though, is they're a little snobby about Americans. They kind of had an attitude about Americans.
That's our fault for, after World War II, when we basically gave them money to rebuild Paris, rebuild France, and then we were there and we were obnoxious. We expected everybody to speak English, walking around, toting our...
Well, we had the attitude of, we saved your asses.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody likes that attitude,
So there's a conflict there. I mean, it's better now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
When I was there, they were trying to get rid of all the Franglais words.
Well, the one day that every time I went to France, I felt like they didn't want me there. I mean, I remember going to the Eiffel Tower to the second floor where there's a restaurant there, and going into the restaurant. And I don't know, I was wearing a soccer shirt or something that may have been the wrong color, and they wouldn't serve me. I mean, a waiter, and the guy would walk right by me.
Really?
Yeah, I felt like they really hated me. That's why when I was on my way to Spain. So when I got to Spain, I really loved Spain because the Spanish are the opposite. The Spanish will... If you don't know how to get somewhere and you don't speak the language, they will spend an hour with you trying to understand what you're saying and help you.
Right.
Whereas the French, if you don't speak it perfectly.
No, well, that's not true, Alex.
Well, no,
There's a big difference between Parisian French and the outside of Paris French, France.
yeah.
They're very helpful, very sweet. Like in southern France, you could nationalize the people.
You're right. You're right. I've been there. You're absolutely correct. But my wife, my ex-wife, spoke perfect French with no discernible accent because she learned it from her mother. Okay, it wasn't like it was like maybe there was you got a sense that it wasn't Parisian, but she spoke perfect French.
Right.
And we went to France, and she spoke French to them, and they acted like they didn't know what she was saying. And she spoke perfect French.
Right.
So I bet they noticed she was an American, so they were going, huh? I mean, the Parisians are the worst. Okay.
Well, then go there in August, because in August there's no Parisians in Paris.
What did somebody once say? You could conquer Paris in what is it? August.
August.
You could conquer Paris in August by telephone.
They're all gone. They have a month vacation.
Right. Don't ever go there, by the way, in August because all the stores are closed. Everything.
And the only people there are tourists.
Yeah. And they have nowhere to eat or anything because it's all closed. But I so hated Paris on one trip I went there that I had to go to Spain, and there was going to be a strike the next day in Paris, and I was supposed to be there the next day, so I left a day early because I didn't want to be there for the strike.
No, why would you?
Yeah. I was also in, where was it? I was in Greece when I was sitting on the tarmac in an airplane and it couldn't take off because there was a 3-hour strike.
A 3-hour strike?
A 3-hour strike, yeah. And then when the 3-hour strike was over, boom, took off. Yeah.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
That's just ridiculous.
Well, I mean, they do. They take care of business over there. I mean, they're going to have a strike. They're going to have a strike. They don't give a crap about you. But I just remember Paris. I mean, I love Paris. It's a beautiful city. God, it's just the people that sometimes are hard to deal with. And you're right. The south of France, they're much nicer.
People could say the same thing about New Yorkers, Alex.
What the fuck are you saying?
You know exactly what the fuck I'm saying.
Well, here's the epitome of New York, right? Fuck you. Fuck me. Fuck you.
Right.
That's New York.
Right.
Yeah. No, New Yorkers, I don't think New Yorkers were ever nasty. I think New Yorkers would, if you didn't know how to get to the Empire State Building, they would give you directions.
Yeah, but what if you didn't speak English?
Oh, well, then fuck you.
Right?
Well, if you don't speak English, we don't understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but you wouldn't take the time to help them.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Right?
Well, I think I would. I would make my best attempt, but I really don't speak any other languages. I spoke a modicum of Spanish because when I was in Spain enough that you become somewhat semi-functional with that. I found you as a former mime.
Easy.
Huh?
Easy.
No. You will appreciate this. That you can speak almost any language to a person of that language, even though you don't know it, by using a lot of mime. I mean, a lot of what we say anyway is, I want to eat.
Right.
And so, really, if you want to communicate with them, usually you can. I mean, for instance, I learned how to say that, okay, in Spanish, okay? So I could go into a pastry shop, look at an eclair, point at it, and go that.
Right.
And I'm fine. So a lot of language is body. And you can use your body to get a lot of things across,
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So you don't need to be nasty, and So if somebody is making an attempt to get his point across using his body and stuff, I'll stop and help him. But I don't. How often does that happen to a New Yorker? They meet up with a foreigner who can't speak English.
Right.
Very rare. And New Yorkers, by and large, I've always found that New Yorkers are kinder than most people give them credit for. In fact, I don't think, do we still have that gruff reputation?
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
I'm sure you do.
I mean, what I love about Andrew Cuomo, outside of the fact that he hits up on women, and that's cool, is what I like about Andrew Cuomo is that he is such a New Yorker that I like that.
Right.
They say he's gruff and he's tough, and it's a toxic atmosphere. Well, that toxic atmosphere is his attitude. He's from fucking Queens. What do you expect?
Right.
I mean, he is of the fuck me, fuck you school of arguing. Yeah. So, they say, well, a lot of people didn't like him because he was gruff and everything. What kind of New Yorker are you if you're bothered by Andrew Cuomo's attitude? So, anyway, but it was just, I think it's so cool that you lived in Paris for, 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. You must have eaten baguettes out your ass.
Yes.
But of course,
and a lot of camembert cheese.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is you were living in Paris as a young man and probably did not have a big budget.
Like no budget.
So it was always camembert and a baguette, right?
Right.
Was camembert cheap enough?
It was cheaper than you could get a baguette with camembert all the way across it, the whole baguette, for 3 francs. So it's 75 cents.
Okay. Cool. And that.
Now, if it was brie, it probably would have been like $3.
Oh, okay. But that would fill you up for the day?
Well, that'd be a snack.
Because when I was a kid living in Hollywood, because I was with the Armed Forces Radio and Television Service, and I was on a military budget, all right, I subsisted entirely on Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Okay.
Because I could buy a box of Kraft macaroni and cheese in those days for 19 cents.
Right.
And I could make that up, eat it, and it'll keep me full for half a day.
Also don't forget, to supplement my budget, I would perform on the street.
Yeah.
I'd play my guitar in the metro.
Yeah.
The weekends, I would go to the place called Pompidou, and I'd do pantomime for the tourists.
Yeah.
I'd get stuck in the box. I'd pull the rope.
Yeah.
Whatever it took to get their money in my hat.
Did you wear whiteface?
Yep, whole thing.
You did the whole thing with the whiteface and the whole thing, yeah.
Whole thing.
Now, who set up that style? Was that an old style, or did Marcel Marceau establish it?
No, because you can actually, the movie The Children of Paradise.
Right.
Les Enfants de Paradis.
Les Enfants de Paradis, which is very...
Les Enfants de Paradis.
Yeah.
It's about Pierrot, and the reason he wears a white face is so people in the back can see him, because they didn't have rake theaters.
Oh, okay. Rake theaters, by the way, are when you're in a theater and it's kind of goes up. That's a rake theater.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they were more performing on the street.
Yeah. And wasn't Marcel Marceau in that picture?
No.
No, he wasn't? I thought he was.
The guy who taught me corporeal mime is in that picture.
Wait a minute. If I remember his name correctly, Jean-Pierrot Barrault?
Jean-Louis Barrault?
Louis Barrault, right.
right?
Right.
And Etienne de Creux. Etienne de Creux is my professor.
Aren't we getting terribly snotty here, folks? Hey, we've run out of time, so we can't get snotty anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Hey, great talking to you again, my friend. Let's do it next week, okay?
All right, I'll put it in the book.
Ladies and gentlemen, that there is Stephen Kravitz. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Alex.
This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network, now in its 7th year. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Well, here I am, folks. A little bit out of sync. That was a little bit out of sync. I want to tell you for a moment before I go completely out of sync why I ran that. It's an old interview. In fact, it was quite out of sync, I noticed. And the reason I ran it is because I haven't been able to find Stephen Kravitz. I got a hold of Kravitz. I get a hold of him like on Tuesday. I write him a note and I say, hey, we're going to do it tomorrow. And here's the link to the Zoom. And I'll see you tomorrow. And the next day, boom, like clockwork, he calls. Okay. This week he didn't call. So I called him on the phone and I got an answering machine. So then I sent him a text and I got no answer. And I sent him an email and I got no answer. And today I called again and left a message for him on his phone. And I didn't get a message. I have no idea what happened to Steve Kravitz. And I'm worried about him because he was very good about this. It was almost like he went out of his way to make sure, that I was, that he was calling and, talking with me and doing the whole thing. So I don't know. I don't get it. Hopefully he'll show up okay, but I thought we'd run an interview with him today, just in case. All right? Let me see. What happened to Charlie Wallace? It's funny. I put Charlie Wallace here. Charlie Wallace called, and then he stopped as soon as I got on. And the only person we actually have on here, see, part of the reason. Well, let me show Jeff. Hello, Jeff. How are you? Huh? Oops. I don't think. Or your audio isn't on. There you are.
I'm okay now.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
I had a real problem today. I have this thing that if you go to my site, GabNet, you notice the on-demand, it has all the programs listed, those programs listed. Well, the program that does that is called Feeder. And I went and I opened up Feeder today, and it wasn't happy. And went, and everything that I had in there was completely lost. So I bought a new version of it, and I uploaded from the site some of the files that would fill it in, and I spent most of the day restructuring the whole thing. So that was my whole day. So I kept putting up things saying I'm not doing a show tonight because I just didn't know if I'd have this fixed by then. And it worried me that, if I didn't do it, if I didn't get it done, I would sit around here worrying about it and so on and so forth. But anyway, where is everybody?
Yeah.
I mean, it just,
That's very strange, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, when I'm down to one person, folks, right? Is it?
Yeah, particularly I'm not the one that easily
You're not the one that is verbose.
on time.
You're not. It's not that you're on time. It's you're verbose. I saw Charlie Wallace there, and he then disappeared. So,
Really?
Yes, I don't know what happened. But anyway, so it's just you and me.
Yeah, I guess so.
And if I don't get many more people.
So I really enjoyed the discussion about Paris.
Yeah.
I had no idea that he was there for 2 years.
Yeah, well, I love Steve like crazy. I mean, I think the world of him. And the fact that I didn't hear from him this week, give me more of your face, okay? Just move your...
Oh, sure.
Yeah. There we go. Oh, there. That looks much better. The fact that I haven't heard from him, it really is quite mysterious to me. So I have no idea what that's all about, you know.
It's hard to figure out.
Yeah. So I hope he's okay, and I hope he's fine, but I don't know. I'm worried because he's usually better than that, you know. And if I wrote him and I texted him and I left messages, he should have gotten one of those and would have written me right back and went, "Oh, I forgot," or whatever. And you know, so that.
Did you hear that Clinton is in a hospital now?
What? He is?
Yes.
When did he go? When did that happen?
A couple of days ago, apparently. I don't know if anybody
That's
knew
right.
about it.
He's in
I
Southern
found
California.
out tonight.
Yeah.
He's in UC Irvine Medical Center.
Well, I almost wound up in the hospital today.
Wow.
Well, no, what happened was I was sitting here and all of a sudden this thing went bad on me, okay? And so now I'm trying to fix it and it's driving me nuts and I'm going, oh, God, I want to fix this thing before I have to go on the air because it's the thing also that On Demand lists all the shows, okay? You know, so, and when you go to, if you ever go to the Roku channel, it's why each of those things has all the shows listed. It's all from that program, and it went bad on me. And so I'm there trying to fix it, and all of a sudden, my stomach started aching horribly. I mean, where I couldn't, if I sat down and tried to get up, it hurt. And I don't know what it was, but I went and laid down, and it went away. So I don't think it's anything serious because it went away. But, you know. It was crazy. It was just crazy. So, and you ever hear of anything like that, Alan?
Yeah, something you ate, a couple hours later, it gets into your stomach.
I didn't eat.
Oh.
Didn't have breakfast. Didn't have anything. But anyway, it just really hurt me after I was sitting here, and I got up and it was just, and then I went to sit in the bathroom, and I of course had some interesting results there, but when I tried to get up, I was in pain. It hurt me to get up. Yes, wow. Yes, Charlene.
You know, I find that, you know, I'm getting older now, and if I don't have breakfast or something, it's like my stomach goes crazy. Like they say that older people like to have like a breakfast and a lunch, you know, more so than like dinner, like, you know.
All I had to eat today so far was soup. That's it. You know. So
something light, yeah.
Something light, yeah. So
anyway. Sometimes when you know, as you're older, like Charlene was saying, sometimes you wake up and there's nothing in your stomach, and the stomach acids have a field day in there, and it hurts. Yeah. Usually you can go get a piece of bread or some toast and leave the butter off of it, at least until your stomach gets under control.
But it ached. It really ached. I mean, it was.
I have stomach problems. I know what that's like. I've had it my whole life.
Now, wait, Charlie, I invited you. Oh, there we go. There's Charlie. What, Charlie? Where'd you go? You had trouble with your computer, right? Charlie, you had trouble with your computer?
Yeah, my computer crashed just in with Stephen.
Just crash. What do you have? A PC?
Yeah.
Yeah, they like to crash. Now, although this PC I have here very seldom ever crashes, but I went crazy today when this thing, and so people were watching on and off. I was watching. No show tonight. Yeah, I'll do a show tonight. No show tonight. Maybe there'll be a show tonight. No, because just as I thought I had it fixed, it stopped working on me. You know, so I couldn't figure it out, but I'm okay. What do you know? And now my well, there it goes. Okay, I've been having trouble with my also with my mouse because I let it go down low, and then I charged it. I was charging it earlier. You're gonna love this. I was charging it earlier using the charging plug, which we all use for the iPhone. The other thing I didn't notice is this side wasn't plugged in. So I had it there for like an hour, and it wasn't working. I went, oh, the mouse. Now the mouse is broken. And then I went, oh, stupid me, you know.
You know, I had a similar thing happen last week. I was cooking on the, attempting to cook some soup. I turned the burner on next to the burner that I was using. 20 minutes later, I come back, and the burner is like going full blast. And I'm like, why did I turn that one? Oh, I didn't even turn this one on under the soup. Oops.
Yeah, well, okay. So we're all really dumb and stupid. And there's hardly anybody watching tonight. So,
all right. Good night.
Good night. I'll see you later. Okay. Anybody want to do the show for me? You know,
Phil did a good thing. He did his monologue. Said, "People come on in." What I thought he was going to go off on and say, you know, Trump really deserves a second chance or some stupid thing. You know, but he did a monologue, and he got somebody, the lady from Wyoming, nice lady.
Oh,
she came on and laid into him. I thought it was sweet.
Yeah.
You know something? Yeah, that was nice of him to do, and she was good. She was a good guest too.
Yeah,
she was a really good guest. I hope she calls again. But anyway, so my stomach bothering me today, and then this whole breaking down, and I just keep going. Every time this happens, I go, okay, I've had enough of this. All right, I'm finished with this. And then tomorrow we're supposed to have a thing with our lawyers, with the lawyers getting together to try and solve the problem. The judge always gets
that's not in their interest, though. Make it go another 10 years, collect another 100,000.
Well, you know, so we're supposed to have this meeting tomorrow, right? And my lawyer put in a hardship thing for me, saying that see, if you have a hardship, like I had cancer, and you're then more susceptible to COVID, they say they can't evict you until January.
Oh, right.
So he said he wanted to put in for that. Not that anybody's it's not that the landlords aren't trying to evict us. The guy who was living here is trying to get us out of here. Okay? So he filed for that, and the judge turned it down.
Wow.
Hey, I mean, hey pal, I have cancer, you know? And I'm also over 65. That's the other comorbidity that you can ask for a hardship on. And he turned it down. This judge hates, I don't think he hates us. He hates our lawyer, I think. His assistant hates our lawyer. And only because our lawyer had the audacity to say to her, well, you're wrong on that. Law says blah, 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 and she has an attitude about him, you know. So we're supposed to have this meeting tomorrow, and so today he writes me at 10 o'clock in the morning. So we need to talk, okay? He turned you down. We need to talk, okay? So, okay, fine. When do you want to talk? And I said, well, I can do it before 1 o'clock, or I can do it after 1:30, because I have a call there. Marjorie's at work, but she can do it until 3. And he gets back to me and says, I'll let you know later on in the day. Never heard from him. Never heard from him. And then we wrote him back and said, we never heard from you. And he didn't write back. Maybe he's with Steve Kravitz. I don't know.
Right.
You know, could very well be. But anyway. Well, so folks, are any of the rest of you ready to call the program too? Although we do have some good people here.
I got nothing to do. It's raining like cats and dogs, so I can't do anything here.
So you can't you can't coach baseball?
No. Can't.
Yeah.
Can't even leave the house.
Is it that
Flooding
bad?
all throughout Austin. So.
Oh, really? Oh, that's wonderful.
Feast or famine?
Feast or famine, exactly. Well, I don't know. You know.
I'm looking.
So anyway,
for Steve Kravitz, if he's still alive.
Well, I know. I looked. That's the first place I always look. I go.
Okay.
Steve Kravitz obit, you know, which I hate to do because that's awfully morbid.
Well, he should get back to you then.
Well, unless something's happened, You know, I mean,
Yeah.
something can happen. Yes, Shirley.
You know, you guys were talking about Shatner.
Mhm.
You know, last
Yeah.
is that Bezos, the Bezos thing and all that?
Yeah, yeah.
I think you should have said, you know, Boligo. I'm going to Boligo where no man has gone before or something, and that was it. Because did you listen to that whole big thing that he was saying? It was like,
Well,
I mean, you know, he was an overactor. He was like,
his thank yous to Jeff Bezos took longer than the trip itself.
Yeah.
yeah. Then he wanted a second pin,
He
and
wa-
Bezos like, well, I'm sorry, Bill, but like, we only have enough, one for each one. He wanted 2 pins for some
What's the
strange.
pin for? I got to tell you something. This Bezos deal is nothing. Okay? He's sending people up 66 miles, and they're not even staying there. They're not floating around the Earth once. They're not going into orbit. They're just coming right back down. In fact,
He went wild, like it was some amazing trip for like a week or something, and he was like crying, and he was like, "My God, when you see, you know, I mean, it wasn't
when you got a chance, Bill, we'll put you on a roller coaster. Okay? You know, but this is just a very expensive roller coaster.
Then he couldn't get the pin to go Bezos into the fabric of the suits they made. And then I wondered, because he's a little rotund. I mean, I hate to
A
say,
little
you know,
rotund,
yeah, they have,
but he
Bill-
also happens to be 90 years old.
I know,
you know.
but I don't mean to, but he is a little rotund, you know.
Yeah.
Tone is good for him. That was a little, you know, it fit him, you know.
Yeah, but
It
I
looked
mean,
good.
I just think Bezos is. It's terrible what he's doing, and what he's doing is he's cheapening the idea of space travel. He's cheapening what it's all about. That anybody can send up a rocket. Well, I got news for you. If you watched what was happening, it went up, then it lost its booster rocket, then it kept going, then it started slowing down. It started slowing down. It started slowing down. And when it finally got to 0 Gs, they were floating around a little bit. I think they only were floating around for about 3 minutes, something like that. And then the thing just starts coming back down.
Right.
You know, it just
Gravity.
went up and then boop, you know.
Big deal. A couple, you know, floating around a little bit for a little tiny while, and that was it.
Yeah.
I-
Yeah.
And then they
How
say
much
Shatner
they-
made
how
a
mu-
documentary about it or something. He's gonna a documentary, I heard.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How long's the documentary going to be? 11 minutes?
Right.
I mean,
I just couldn't believe the whole thing. I was like, wow.
yeah, I don't understand. Oh, look, my transparent bottle. See that?
I can see it.
Because it's my green bottle. I don't like to use the green bottle, but if
Yeah.
I don't, I'll just have nothing but green left.
Well, we can see the white cap.
Yep.
You can see the white cap.
Yep.
You know what, Alex?
See it
When you did
floating?
the other interview, your eyes were the before eyes, and today you have the after eyes.
Oh, that's right.
Did you notice? Was there a noticeable difference?
Yes. They look much better now, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
They look more open and awake and everything.
You look so much younger. You look like you're no more than 83.
oh, shut up. Well, isn't anybody else going to call? What?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Huh?
know.
Well, I
A lot
know.
of people are watching the Giants and the Dodgers, I guess, or the football game.
Well, I know Neary had a lot of baseball. Is there baseball on tonight?
Yeah, but I think it starts later though. But yeah, the Giants play the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Oh, it's probably on now. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, I've lost him until baseball's over with. So
Yeah.
what have you? But he hasn't been on in
A long time, yeah.
about 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once got down to the end of the season and then into the playoffs. Yeah.
But anyway, one of the reasons why I decided finally to do a show tonight is because I've been so lax in doing them lately. I didn't want to have another night off. So as soon as I saw that I had this thing working, I was ready to go on it. You know, but I think I fixed
Well, you
the
must
problem.
be feeling a little better today.
What do you mean a little better?
You know, physically.
I was feeling pretty good when I got up today. Then I got a note from my lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The first thing you want to wake up to is a lawyer letter. And then, I said to Marjorie, I said, if this is like a money pit, all right? Where you buy a house and you got to fix it, but then it costs you a lot of money to fix some of it, but then there's another thing that needs to get fixed, and another thing needs to get fixed. Before you know it, you've spent $100,000. You got to keep fixing it because you've already spent $100,000 on it. Well, we've already spent almost $100,000 on lawyers in this deal. Now, granted, that's over a period of about 9 years, but nevertheless, it's $100,000.
Yeah.
And so I said to Marjorie, I said, if this were such a fucking money pit, I'd say let's cut bait and run, but we can't afford to. We have to keep going until the lawyer gets to suck up every penny we have. All right.
Even how much, you can't quit now, right?
Yeah, and there's a chance we'll lose here. There's no reason why we should lose. We didn't do anything wrong. We're so innocent, it's ridiculous. We should have never been dragged into this in the first place. But nevertheless, there's a chance we might lose. Why? We didn't do anything wrong. We just rented a goddamn apartment to somebody who wasn't allowed to rent a goddamn apartment. So, anyway, I'm tired of it. But how do you like my beard now? It's getting longer. Do you notice that? That was one other thing I've done.
Alex, my son has a beard. He looks like Grizzly Adams, I always say. And he is using minoxidil on his beard. At first, I was like, what's he afraid he's losing his hair? He's putting it in into the spaces to fill it out. It's expensive, that minoxidil,
Yeah.
Minoxidil on your face? I never heard of that.
I've never heard of it either.
Somebody said that's what he's doing, trying to make his beard fuller. Because I know he's not, he doesn't need it on his
head. It works on your face that well.
I
probably not even work.
Never heard of that.
I know. My son is crazy now. He's ordering like shampoo and conditioner and all kinds of products every day from Amazon.
How old is he?
28.
Is he losing his hair?
He's got premature gray. He's got some gray in his hair.
Yeah, but how about he's lost hair?
No, I don't see him losing hair though. But maybe he's afraid he is or something because of the gray. I don't know.
I'm using in my hair, just for men, gradual graying. You shampoo your hair regularly, and then you put this in for a minute and wash it out, and it gradually changes the gray. It'll go to black. It's one color, works all. And so when you get it to the level you like it, where I want some gray, then you stop for a few days and you do it again, that type of thing. Versus just all of a sudden dyeing your hair.
I just looked. Is there some big sports thing happening tonight? Because we're down to 21 people watching. We never get that low.
Wow.
I mean, the playoffs.
Huh?
Baseball playoffs.
Playoff.
Yeah.
Where's George?
Baseball.
Clark was there last night, right?
Playoffs are going to be going on tomorrow night too.
Maybe I just won't go on till the playoffs are all over. I mean, this is
there you go.
now I'm down to 20 people.
Take a vacation. You've been working too hard lately.
20 people. What is with this? I mean, come on, folks.
I would have expected a lot more because Jeff's back on the show.
Yeah.
Well, I came back tonight rather than take the night off because of all these problems, because I wanted to, I didn't want to let people down. Well,
Right.
if I sign off now, I've let 21 people down.
Maybe what you ought to do is do the Monday pop-up and then do Tuesday and Thursday and take off the weekend. Have a 3-day weekend.
No, I think I would probably do like Wednesday and Friday. Maybe. I mean, what? I mean, I might still only get 22 people. Well, we're up to 22 people.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why don't you sing for us, Jeff?
Now we're
We'll
back
get
down
more
to
people.
21 again.
No, you don't want to hear me sing. Not at all.
I said to Jeff, why don't you sing? We'll get more people. He says, you don't want to hear me sing.
So tell me about Clinton.
Yeah, Clinton, I found out that he has a aortic valve and another device.
In
I got the same stuff.
2010, he had a 4-way bypass.
Yeah.
What? I didn't know that.
When was this?
In 2010, it's only come out today, Charlene, because he's in the hospital in Southern California
Is he? I didn't know
with
that.
some kind of infection.
Yeah, nobody knew.
He's got an infection, like what is that called when you go to the hospital and you get that
I
infection?
looked. I can't.
Sepsis.
Sepsis.
Is that what he's got?
It's not. Is it? I mean, I don't know. I'm asking.
I don't know either.
Well, wait a minute. Let me see here. I wonder if, let's see, Drudge has anything about it here.
I'm sure if you go to Fox News, they'll claim that he's dead, but
Hey, folks, if this show is too boring for you, you could always call up and join it.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Let me see. Otherwise, I don't care. Let's see here. Well, Prince William slams space billionaires. What he says. Why are we trying to? What did they say? What did he say? He's slamming the. I agree with him, but not where Musk is concerned. But where? What is that? That's ridiculous.
Isn't he the one involved with the pedophile guy? You mean that Prince William or?
Prince William. Prince William is.
That was Prince Andrew.
Oh, the guy that's
Prince
in there
Andrew.
now.
Well,
Like,
Prince William is
he's
married
the heir
to
throne.
married to Kate Middleton, right?
Oh, he's the heir to the throne or something, right?
Yeah.
Well, didn't they disown him or something because he lives here in this country?
No, that's
now?
Harry.
That's the
It's
other guy.
Oh, Harry, sorry.
The ginger.
William is the heir, and Harry's the spare.
There in the spare.
Prince William slams billionaire space race and says they should focus on fixing Earth problems first.
That's what I
In a
said.
stunning intervention hours after Amazon chief Jeff Bezos' recent trek with, William Shatner.
Fox News is so positive. Former President Clinton is receiving care in California Medical Center, spokesman said. Then the next line down, Bill Clinton has had nightmares about the future of the country ever since leaving office.
Wow.
Well, some of those nightmares happened the last 4 years.
Yeah,
So,
right.
Yeah.
The nightmare was Donald Trump got elected, yeah.
Yeah, well, anyway, to begin with, I've got to say this to William. I hate these people who say about space travel, well, we have more important things to do here on Earth. I agree. We have a lot of important things to do here on Earth. Why can't we do all of them? And here you've got a bunch of fat cats who are trying to get us into space. It's not, they're not using your dime. Okay,
Right.
They're using their own dime. And so this whole idea that they could be spending their money on more important things. What more important things? What could be more important than us getting off this goddamn planet and going somewhere else where maybe the
We
human
might have to. Right?
maybe where the human race can survive?
Who's this guy on chat? Charlie Wallace. Is Abraham Lincoln still alive? Of course he's still alive.
Oh my God. Oh,
That's just an example of a question that only has one answer.
Right. I got it. It's cute. So,
Well, no, it has a third answer. I don't know.
yeah.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
I don't think Lincoln would have made a good boxer. He couldn't take a shot to the head.
oh God. Oh gosh.
Don't laugh at that. Don't laugh at it, Charlie.
I know.
Oh,
Do
I'm
not
laughing
laugh
at how
at
corny
it.
it was.
You're only encouraging him. Okay.
You know, it's funny. Everybody on Jack's show, even the people from this show, when they get on Jack's show and I tell a joke, everybody loves it.
Well, because Jack is so bad at telling jokes
Oh,
that anything in comparison to that,
I see.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I've heard him
broad.
tell jokes, and he really has very bad timing.
Funny.
Did
I thought
anybody
this was
hear-
about you.
Huh?
Did anybody hear that the Rolling Stones are never going to sing Brown Sugar? anymore. Like, because
Well, they said
I
they've stopped singing it. They didn't say forever. Do you know what the lyrics are to Brown Sugar?
Gold Coast
What?
slave ship bound for cotton fields.
Yeah, but I
sold
never.
in market down in New Orleans.
Brown.
Scarred old slaver. No, he's doing all right. Hear him whip the women just around midnight. When I thought of the lyrics, I said, it kind of is racist, I think, right?
Yeah. Well, but it's the lyrics.
Brown sugar, how come you taste so
the
good?
The thing is,
and I think he used to
hold,
say just
hold
like a
on,
black
hold
girl
on,
should.
hold on.
Sorry.
I never,
Sorry.
I never paid attention to the lyrics. How many here did?
Well,
I've never paid attention to it, but I think it's funny. You asked the group, have you ever heard the lyrics? Charlene's repeating it, and then you stop her.
Well, she's reading it.
Oh, reading it.
No, I memorized them.
Did you really memorize that?
Because I went out, I could never understand what Mick was saying, like that Jumpin' Jack Flash. So I went out and bought a guitar book that had the lyrics so I could know what he was saying.
Well, because
in all the songs.
Here's the thing that most people have said they never heard the lyrics. They never paid attention to the lyrics. Gold Coast slave ship bound for cotton fields, sold in the market down in New Orleans. Scared old slaver knows he's doing all right. Hear him whip the women just around midnight. Right? Brown sugar, how come you taste so good? Brown sugar, you taste just like a young girl should. Drums beating,
he used to
cold
say young,
English
but
blood.
he said black sometimes. He said black.
But the question is it anti-black? Is it pro-slave? What is it?
Is it pedophiles?
And no, everybody is saying
it's anti-slavery.
Most people say it's anti-slavery. Yeah.
Well, nowadays though, everything.
Well, why would you stop singing it when I'd be very proud to sing that song? I'd be very proud that people were
because I always liked it.
I'd be happy that after like 50 years, people finally paid some attention to the lyrics.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it will cause people to pay attention, but
yeah,
I don't know. I guess Mick is politically correct, or what do they call? Not politically correct. What is it called again? That catchword, for? Oh God.
What do you?
I'm sorry. Like it's not politically correct. It's cancel culture. It's a cancel culture. Right?
Yeah. It's not woke.
Right.
What does that mean? Do you know, Charlie? Come on, you're hip to what the kids are saying.
I'm not hip.
You're black. You're black. You should know what woke means.
That's not black.
Speaking of racism.
That's young people. It's not black people that say woke.
Oh.
You know more about it than I do. Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So anyway, so we've got so nobody knows what Clinton's in for.
Yeah, right. Now I want to know what happened. Did he collapse or something, or they just hospitalized him? What?
How old is he? He's got to be 75 or something like that.
Well, hold on. Echo, how old is Bill Clinton?
Bill Clinton is 75 years old.
Thank you.
That was a good guess.
A youngster.
Yeah.
It's my age. I'm sorry.
Is Hillary at his bedside and everything? Like, what's going on? Yeah.
Well, the way, I don't know if you've been in the hospital during COVID, but they don't let anybody in anymore.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
My question is, why is he in a hospital in California when he lives on the East Coast?
Yeah. California
because he
hospitals
was
are better.
in California.
Yeah, I didn't know he was in
Some
California.
meeting or whatever, and he felt crappy. So he went to the doctor or went to the hospital.
Good thing he did. He's pretty sick.
Yeah. Well,
According to NBC News, it's not COVID.
Mm-hmm.
UC Medical Center Irvine is where he's being treated in Southern California.
mm-hmm.
He's got an infection, but his white cells are dropping, which means the infection's going away. He's been taking IV antibiotics. They don't say what the infection is, but as long as he gets better, that's all that matters, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, it depends upon where the infection is, too.
Well, yeah, in 2004, I was wrong on the date. On 2004, he underwent triple bypass at New York's Presbyterian Hospital.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, we're up to 29 people watching now. Yay!
Yeah, we're talking about Bill Clinton. I think he was one of our greatest presidents in my lifetime.
Well, I'm watching this thing. I'm watching this thing. It's I don't know if you're watching it. American Crime Story: Impeachment, which is all about the Monica Lewinsky situation. Okay, a dramatization. And they've got this woman. She's a Broadway actress, but she's not pleasingly plump. She's fat. Okay, and squat. And that's not Monica. Monica was pleasingly plump, okay? And I wondered how Monica would feel about finding that they went out and got this kind of dumpy fat girl to play Monica. And then I look at the credits and she's the executive producer.
Trying to save money, I guess.
Yeah.
She actually looks pretty good. She was on Stephen Colbert last week.
Oh, really? She does look good. You know,
Monica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought
we're lucky it wasn't Michael Lewinsky.
But I thought she was really. Who's Michael Lewinsky?
I'm making a joke. It went over your head. I said Bill Clinton's lucky it wasn't Michael Lewinsky.
Who was Michael Lewinsky?
There was no Michael. Monica, Michael. It's close. Except for it's two different.
I don't get what would you hold on a second.
Forget it.
No, explain the joke to us.
Would he have been kicked out of office if it was a guy that he had a sexual encounter with?
Back then, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That happened to the governor of New Jersey, right? Because he had that. He said, "I'm a gay American." He had to apologize for that.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have to do that today, though, right?
No.
Jack Bishop is about to join us here. Probably to defend
put him down about his jokes.
To defend his comedy timing.
Absolutely.
Let me see here. Hello, Jack. How are you? Jack? Oh, he has turned his audio on.
Back then, yeah.
There we go. He's on. His audio's on.
That happened to the governor of New Jersey, right? Because he has to turn his audio down.
Chris Christie, he was a real winner.
Yeah. But Jack, are you here to defend your comedy timing?
No.
Okay.
No. I was listening to you guys about two things. On brown sugar, I want to give equal time for the other side.
Go for it.
All right. Curtis Mayfield from The Impressions did a song called Mighty Mighty. Wait, did he do that or Sly did that? Yeah, the Mighty Mighty Spade and Whitey.
Wow.
Wow.
A good one.
My old dear dope smoking buddy, he taught me how to roll some of the tightest joints in Bernal Heights. Sly Stone did a tune called Don't Call Me Nigger, Whitey, Don't Call Me Whitey, Nigger.
Wow.
So I think the Stones thing is really kind of mild and certainly much more endemic to the message that you guys were talking about. I never thought
you never paid attention to the lyrics of it, did you?
No, I heard the lyrics when it first came out.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was anti-slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Besides, black women, once they get control of you, they put a whipping on you.
No, but the point is that they're going to stop doing it, and they say they're going to stop doing it because of just all the problems with doing anything about race today.
Yeah.
Right. They didn't feel their song was particularly racist in any way, but there were just a lot of people out there get really pissy about it, so they said forget it.
Well, I think we're living at a time where people are going to be pissy about something. I got pissy last night with Amy Manuel.
Yeah.
Well, that's not difficult.
No, that's not difficult. She's one of the people I like.
Brown sugar does taste pretty good.
Absolutely.
Just like a young girl should.
Especially if it's laying on my girlfriend.
Right.
Well, I don't know about laying on your girlfriend. I've never met your girlfriend, but
she's actually been squashed flat.
Probably 300 pounds landing on her lap. Not a good Sight.
and sold in the market down in New Orleans. But that's another story. The other thing I heard you guys talking about was Bill Clinton, and Bill and I are the same age, and we both have had open heart surgery, as you guys know. And I just hope that Bill is in the hospital getting an internal penis pump.
He's supposed to be, like he doesn't need that, right?
Well, really, we need to have him not be able to get erections.
Right, he was too
erections
crazy.
have gotten him into way too much trouble.
Hey, I want Bill to get one so I can explain to my wife, who says, you don't need that, why I want one.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I was talking about Monica Lewinsky, and I always felt sorry for both of them in that situation.
Oh, yeah.
I felt that he was being seduced by a younger woman at a time in his life where he was very vulnerable to that sort of thing. And she was, I think what America did to her was terrible. Just terrible.
But also, I blame Hillary Clinton for some of that, because Hillary could have said, what goes on between me and Bill's girlfriend is none of y'all's business. Keep the hell out of it.
Yeah, but they needed it. But what they wanted was they wanted to get him to lie about Monica Lewinsky in the Paula Jones deposition. And that's what got him, was lying.
Well, from a historical standpoint, the only presidents that apparently did not have affairs with someone, George Washington, except maybe for his law partner before he went to Washington, according to some sources, Abe Lincoln, Jimmy Carter, and of course Richard Nixon, who nobody would go to bed with.
Well, wait a minute, you've forgotten a very important one. You've forgotten a really important one.
Yeah.
Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Barack Obama, yeah.
He wouldn't have cheated on Hillary, on Michelle, because she'd kill him.
Right.
You see those guns on her, boy?
But I always wanted to say to Michelle, look, would you like to find out if those stories about old disc jockeys are true?
What stories are those, Jack?
Well, did you never watch WKRP in Cincinnati?
Yes.
One of the guys that replaced me at KMPX in San Francisco before I came to America was Howard Hessman. And old disc jockeys get laid. I speak as the voice of experience. When I was doing a big band here in Dallas, my wife said that I was the late midnight fantasy for blue-haired women all over the state.
So just clarify something, Jack. Old disc jockeys get laid. Does that include your hand?
No, that includes your mouth.
Oh, well, sorry.
Yeah, anyway, I'll tell you something, though. I have a kind of a relationship to Monica Lewinsky in that Monica Lewinsky's mother, Marcia, I think was her name, divorced her father, and married a gentleman by the name of R. Peter Strauss, who was the guy who owned WMCA that I worked for. He was my boss at WMCA. This is before he married Monica Lewinsky's mother.
6 degrees of separation.
Yeah. But
well, my old boss at that period was screwing everybody. James Brown. I remember one night at one of the James Brown stations, where I was group program manager for 4 years, and we were talking about how many children out of wedlock did James have, because he was being sued by some woman in California over a new one. And I was standing out in front of this building in Atlanta, and there was the head of James Brown Broadcasting. There was the head of James Brown Enterprises, There was James's road manager, and there was a guy named Sinclair Pinckney who had been in the James Brown band since 1954. And we were trying to remember how many kids did James have other than the two that were legitimately his. And so we started mentioning cities, and some of the guys knew the names. And shortly after that, James comes out of the building and says, "What are you guys standing around laughing and talking about?" And somebody said, "James, we're trying to remember how many kids are you sending child support payments to?" And some of the guys started calling out names. And James said, "Well, wait a minute. Let me do my James Brown voice. Wait a minute. You're forgetting about the baby in Canada, the baby in London, and maybe that baby that's mine in Japan." So when I got home to the lady that I was living with at the time, I said, I think he must, when he shaves, he must nick himself and bleed sperm to have that many kids.
How many kids did Muhammad Ali have?
God only knows.
Wait a minute, hold on a second. Echo, how many children did Muhammad Ali have?
Muhammad Ali had 7 children, including Muhammad Ali Jr.
Okay, so 7
Oh,
children.
that's nothing. That's nothing.
Seven that we know about.
That's nothing.
Alex,
What?
Alex,
Yeah.
you know how we were talking about Mick Jagger?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't he have like 10 kids? I mean, I'm not sure.
I have no
Ask
idea.
her how many he has. Serious.
Okay. Echo, how many children does Mick Jagger have?
Mick Jagger has 5 children.
Oh, that's not
Jagger,
fun.
Nothing.
A piker.
Elizabeth
A piker.
Jagger, and Horace Jagger.
Yeah. That's piffle. That's nothing.
What about George Foreman?
Oh God! But they're all named George. How can you tell?
Yeah.
Okay. Echo, how many children does George Foreman have?
Here's something I found on the web. According to reference.com, as of 2014, American boxing legend George Foreman has 12 children, including
that's a
5
lot.
boys whose
That's a
first
lot.
names are George and
Well.
2 girls who bear his name,
Wow.
Georgette and Frida George Foreman, whose middle name comes from her father.
Yeah, no shit.
That's almost as many kids as my grandparents had. My dad's mom and dad, they had 14.
Who?
My dad's parents, my grandparents, had 14 kids. 4 boys, 11 girls. And before he died, I had the pleasure.
What did in your household? Did your father come home and all he said was "Hello, I'm pregnant and goodbye"?
Well, that's what my grandmother said. This was my dad's parents.
Yeah.
And my grandmother said at a family reunion, which we used to do every few years, she said, I so hated to hear Cyrus pull up in the driveway because I knew in 10 minutes I'd be pregnant again.
None of them were half brother and sister.
No.
They were all like
No.
from one woman.
No.
Well, that poor woman.
But before the old man died, I asked him, you had 4 sons and you had 4 sons and 10 girls. Those were the ones that lived into adulthood. They had a couple of kids that died in infancy. And I said, how come you only had 4 boys? And he said to me, if you had any kids at all, you'd know that you got to do some serious screwing to have boys. And he said, I gave that up after 5 kids. I said, I'd tell Virginia, Virginia, you get on top and you do the work for a while. I got a job in the morning.
Well, I have 0 kids, so Well, I may have one out there. I don't know.
Well, I thought you had one. Yeah,
I might have one, but I wouldn't know. I quite frankly, I think there's a good chance it's Howard Stern, but
I heard that he was conceived orally.
Well, Alan, you see, what people in radio, what guys in radio, what we hate is you finish up your show and you come out of the studio and you walk out into the lobby, and there's some guy standing there who's about, between the ages of 25 and 35. And he says, excuse me, are you Jack Bishop? And you go, yeah. And he says, did you work in Knoxville, Tennessee in 1968? And does the name Dorothy McClellan ring a bell with you, you lying son of a bitch? I say, and then you go, oh, my son, you're home.
I'll tell you what I had happen to me once. What I had happened to me once is I had somebody, a father, get a hold of me and say, I want to talk to you. And I said, about what? And he said, you got my daughter pregnant. I said, who's your daughter? And she said her name. Never heard of her in my life. Okay? I said, I do not know her. And I couldn't have possibly gotten her pregnant because I don't know her.
Well,
turns out the girl was lying. When the father asked, who's the father, the first person she thought of was the guy she was hearing on the radio.
That just goes to show your popularity.
Yeah. But if I could do one thing in my lifetime, it would be to get you to stop telling radio stories.
Okay.
Yeah. The reason is I hate radio stories. I hate radio. I love working it and I love being in it, but I hate most of what goes on in the radio business.
Well, I always said it was the most fun I ever had with all my clothes on.
Would I say it was the most fun I've had? No, I'd have to say it was stuff with my clothes off.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I was a vestal virgin until I was, 7. No, I didn't lose my virginity until I was 18.
I was a virgin until I think I was 17, maybe.
I was 18.
And then I made up for lost time. I just,
we heard about that.
You heard about that. Yeah.
So that's why I want Donna to hear that Bill Clinton is getting one of those internal penis pumps so I can continue to make up for lost time now that my time is running down, if you get my drift.
Well, I've run out of time for that.
No.
That's all behind me now,
Well, you see, that's why I turned to Black & Decker.
No, but this is why I've said that the day I stopped having a sex drive, which was just a few years ago because they started diddling with my prostate, but I stopped having a sex drive, is the day I got my dignity back.
Well, you see, I can't make that claim. I've still got my prostate.
No, I've still got my prostate.
But and my prostate is in pretty good shape, according to my doctor. It's just that my hydraulics aren't what they used to be.
Well, that's a problem too. But the thing is but I've got to say that I can't complain. That the years that I had sexually were happy years. Okay.
Well, that's bully for you. As I go down that long, dark hallway to senility, I still want to have a couple of good times. I went to this conference where they were talking about this internal penile pump.
Boy, you're obsessed with penile pumps.
Better living through hydraulics.
No, but wait a minute. Would you want to have one of those things in you? Would you really?
I know several guys that do, and they do not complain.
Well, I'm sorry. If you've got to sit there and say, wait a minute, dear, come on. I used to do that. Now I'm doing this.
You can get a tattoo on your penis that says inflate to 15 PSI.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's Austin Powers has that, right? The penis pump.
Why is that any different than saying let's wait 15 minutes for the blue pill to kick in?
Yeah.
Exactly. And I know a guy that has one, and he's got one of the better ones, according to his wife. And she says he's had it for like 10 years, and she cannot explain how it works, but she says it works and it keeps on working just like that ever-ready bunny.
Charlene.
Something just popped into my head, Alex. You might be.
See, now that's funny. You should mention the inflatable penis, and then something popped into your head.
No. You were talking about penis pumps, and didn't Jean Harlow's husband have a penis pump or something?
I don't think they had a penis pump. They didn't have.
Boy, I sure don't follow that stuff. I guess girls follow it.
No, her husband.
Jean Harlow, a movie it's called Harlow with Carol Baker.
Yeah.
And I think that movie, maybe Shecky would know that.
Do you know who was married to Carol Baker?
Oh, I know your friend.
Yes, Jack
Garfine.
Garfine.
I've always wanted to tell you that. Can I tell you real fast that I love that movie, Something Wild, and that was Jack Garfield's movie.
Garfine.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I said his name wrong. I'm sorry. But I've always loved that movie, Something Wild, with Ralph Meeker and Carol Baker.
Yeah.
And it turned out that it was his film, and that really stuck in my mind when I saw that. It was
I never thought that Carol Baker had a great career, and then I started looking it up, and she really did. I mean, she did to begin with. She started out with Baby Doll, which made her the #1 sex object in America, and then she did right after that, or maybe just before that, I can't remember which. Giant, and then she went on doing one film after another. How the West was one, so on and so forth. She had quite a career going for her, you know. Plus the film she made with Jack. I mean, she was terrific, you know.
Well, if we're going to talk about movies, I'm going to bring up one that I rewatched for the first time since 1970 this weekend, and that's the classic Putney Swope. Does anybody remember that one?
My very good friend directed that film.
I know the name.
Do you know who directed it?
Yes, some guy that's got a kid that plays Iron Man.
Actually, it was Robert Downey Sr.
Oh.
And Robert Downey Sr. and I were friends. In fact, I was supposed to be in Greaser's Palace, but he couldn't afford to fly me out to Texas where they were shooting it. And we used to go out to breakfast, and he would bring his kid with him to breakfast. And I keep thinking, was I nice to him? Did I treat him well? You know, I don't want to think that maybe I, didn't treat him the right way. But anyway, and little Robert Downey Jr. was having breakfast with us. So.
Oh.
And then he turned into a drug-crazy actor.
That's because he hung around Alex for breakfast
for a while, and then he straightened his life out, and he did very well for himself. Now
I got to do well for myself.
Breaking into houses and getting into bed with people's children and stuff.
Yeah, Jack's got to go. He's got to go do his show, which goes on right after this, and it's called The Intersection, and you people should call him because you didn't call me. So anyway, thank you, Jack.
Pleasure to be here, Mr. Bennett. Catch you in a little bit.
And in fact, I will start rolling the theme here. And thank everybody for having joined me tonight. The people that did. See, some people joined me. I thank them for that. Okay. Yeah, my face does look younger, doesn't it?
Yes, it actually does.
Yeah, it looks great.
I'm thinking of not even getting the bags done now, thank you very much, Jeff. We really appreciate it. Love having you here. Alan, good seeing you. Charlene, nice of you to join us. And, of course, the lovely and attractive Charlie Wallace. We always like having you here. We hope and pray it rains tomorrow night. And, by the way, thank you for joining us this evening. Everybody, and also to Jack Bishop as well, who's next with The Intersection. Everybody give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye back. Okay, there they go, ladies and gentlemen. That's our people of the citizen panel, and they're gone, and they're gonna go. There we go, and I probably will get back into sync now because the Zoom stopped. Anyway, that's it for tonight. We'll be back again tomorrow night, provided everything works okay and things don't break down. We'll be back here, same time, same station in life. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, Tell her I love her, okay? And by the way, wear a mask. But better than that, hey, go get yourself, little some juice, some vaccination, okay? In fact, get yourself 3 of them. Then you'll really be safe. See you tomorrow night. Bye-bye, everybody.